Okay, so just to recap what we did in Boottheme. Sign in. Design page. Really?
Is the gallery what I was at before, where you could just like look at different templates or
Mm-hmm.
whatever? Oh. Just making sure.
Exiting. Design page. Here's my current project, so that's why it popped up right away. What I had done earlier to share this project was gist, saved it, created a gist here, and anyone can take this link and paste it into here and use it. So it's reading it. It's the exact same, so it's not going to change anything. It's opened up already. Cool. Now, designing the page is what this it was. I mean, I did this pretty quickly, but it just has a bunch of features and long list with tabs, tables, and pills, address, small slider, bookmark or breadcrumbs, different buttons, details, hero unit, roll nav, and a sidebar. Snippets, I believe, are where you can save snippets of code. This is where we'll use that other resource, the Fuel UX one, I believe, and we'll see if we can incorporate some of the tools and stuff. So those are just other widgets and stuff people have been developing for Bootstrap, and we can create them as snippets, I believe, and bring them into here. But right now, it's just, this template works fine because it just has kind of most of the components of Twitter Bootstrap. I mean, which aren't even very many, but actually end up doing a lot more than I could imagine. Yeah. Generate theme. So theme is where we're able to mix up the colors and stuff. This is probably my favorite, the most useful tool, because I really don't have much use in designing like entire templates in here because I'd rather use that with my own IDE and stuff. But being able to easily just mix around the colors and stuff without, really it's just a less file, and it's I believe just a JavaScript less, or no, it's client side less in Java, that's JavaScript. And anyway, shut up, because I don't know what I'm saying exactly. Random theme right here, we'll just mix the colors. I like that one actually just recently. That's kind of cool. Here you can change the colors manually, and press this up arrow to include it. So if I wanted to change that light pink to white, and just press up, and it just puts the background as white. You can save your theme when it's ready, when you're happy with it, by just saving it.
And the colors go in order, so like the first one is
So it's yeah, these 5 ones. You can include more colors up here, but I believe it will only do 5.
Oh.
And then it looks like it also accepts as an additional argument the main font of the website. So there's a primary, there's like the primary font or whatever it's called, and then you can specify like header fonts and stuff, and those are in the other options. So the main theme colors are just right here, and this is the easiest way to just get a general. That's cool. That's cool. Pretty turquoise coral, huh? Kind of.
Yeah, it's like creamsicle.
And have you saw Amanda's flyers?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'll show you this later. So when basic. So after let's say we've selected these and we want to use these ones. Basic, advanced, colors, drag and drop. Colors, I think, is for reference. Text code. Okay, so this is kind of, I believe, just reference. And yeah. So these are all these are all these colors you can reference within the site with these terms. So saying like @AliceBlue, I believe, should call that color. And these are less color functions like lighten, darken, saturate, desaturate. So these ones are ways to, if you like, for example, are doing this button, for example. So we have our main yellow set to this light yellow right here. And then the top color is a darker yellow. So we want to say take button gradient at the bottom, we'll say that's the regular yellow, but as it goes up, we would use this function darken at color 10%. And darken at color would be darken at yellow. If that doesn't make sense, I explained it poorly, and it's my fault. And you might want to find a color scheme designer. I believe that I think I've used this one before. Yeah, but this one I used in back in when I was still in school. It's pretty easy to use. To just find common color patterns and schemes. Yeah, so you can play with those if you want. Drag and drop. I believe this is a tool to help you come up with color schemes. So once you've come up with a color scheme, you can drag and drop and kind of check different colors. Palette, default. So I'm not too sure if you can drag and drop it onto the page. Oh yes, you can. Cool. You see how that worked?
Did you do that from palette or from default?
So palette is just is kind of just a color tool, and then down here, default tints and shades. This is the color combination, that's also explained in here. If you look at here, mono, complement, triad, tetrad, analogic, accented. So
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, triad 3, tet 4, mono means only one color. So you see how it's just taking a single shade of that pink, a single shade of yellow, green. But if I do complements, split complements, that'll take the its complementary color, and it'll create a quick scheme with that. Or if I do triad, it should create 3 different colors, I think. So triad, and to visualize it, it looks like this. So here's a triad, there's 3 colors, and then you can move these up here.
But they're not necessarily complementary or not.
Well, it's triad. So complement are like this, right? Red and green. Triad, it looks right below it, right here.
Okay.
So, and then splits at a degree on both sides. And the degree is specified the angle right here. Tetrad is 2 combinations of complementary colors. Analogic, I don't know what is fine, just looks like one color with 2 other sides. And accented, so that's a complementary match with the analogic kind of mix. And those are just easy ways to find patterns with the colors, and they'll just always look good because of the way they are a pattern. And I know this how you can do you can do an example real quickly right here, with light and dark.
Oh.
So what you would want to take from here are these numbers, the hexadecimal color codes right here.
Mm-hmm.
If you do use this tool at all, which is pretty useful, so I don't see why not. And then just copy one of these hexadecimal codes, and you can paste it into here, or up here, anywhere, really. But yeah, so that's designing. I mean, and then once you get comfortable with the tools, then you can really start to just kind of rely more on your designing skills. All right, so with basic functions, scaffolding, you probably want to go through each one of these settings where you're going to come up with your own custom website. So each one of these settings affect the entire site. Think about it affecting everything within the site. The body background, right here, the first one, will affect the entire site's the background body default unless otherwise specified, by a class or an ID or something. So the body background I have set to this one. I can You know what I would actually recommend starting is in advanced. Instead of starting at basic,
Starting with advanced or?
starting with advanced, yeah. And there's a reason, and is because you can specify all these settings and under colors. So under advanced, colors, and this is where you would specify each one of these colors for future reference.
Okay.
And so anytime you want to, so if you set your blue and your dark blue and your green and your red, you can set all of these from within here, and then when you go to back to basic, you can say right here, read, look, at blue, and that'll use the blue set by here, because that's this blue. So if I change this blue to red for some reason, I can do that by red. But yeah, so using that at is the real, like, the I mean, probably the coolest part. That's a less, it's really sick. So setting your colors here, using the color scheme designers, come up with a nice color scheme, and then just kind of filling them into these. And now Bootstrap will use like a lot of these for other parts of the website as well by default. Like it'll use your default blue maybe for the default color for links, which it doesn't, which it should. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So add blue. If I want all links to be bright red, well now they're disappearing because my background is blue too. So I'll turn this one to at gray lighter. Alright, so gray lighter. Is it the right one? Oh, I just don't know how to spell. I've told you this before, right, Reed?
You can't spell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. Anyway. Links, link color hover. Here's an example of using that less syntax darken at link color 15%. So this is this is an important kind of design theory. I don't know. So if you notice though that he used darken link color 15%. So the link color is the field right before. So rather than saying link color blue and then link color hover equals darken blue, instead of using blue again, they use this link color. Do you see that right there, the connection?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because it's a lot more modular than putting at blue. Because if I look in this example, so if I put at blue right here, it'll have the same effect. Because it's taking the same color blue, which has actually been assigned to red. So ignore that. I mean, I'll fix that actually. That's just stupid for me to do that. So what's what color blue is RGB. So yeah, cool.
So do you want me to be in basic right now or in advanced? Because I was in advanced.
I was just fixing blue.
Okay.
Okay, that's advanced. So then go back to, so once you've designed the colors right here, but not at the moment, you go back and do this, and then come back to basic, okay? And I believe that's the only one I set up for, yeah. So then come back to basic. And then you just start going down through each one of these options in basic, and each one, scaffolding, they're for some reason we're oddly labeled. So scaffolding includes the body background, which is...
Wait, so what is scaffolding?
Scaffolding is like the structure of the site, but for some reason they include body background color in there. And text color, of all things.
Okay.
So that's mislabeled, I think, unless I'm wrong. I mean, Twitter's Bootstrap has documentation. Bootstrap. Scaffolding. Here you can read about scaffolding. Yeah, so it's
So it is labeled.
the layout. So I don't know why.
I mean, I would think that's what it would be.
Yeah,
That's what-
it's for some reason it's where they have body background and text color. So that's why I go through each one of these. Links, link color, hover. So link color, I want that to be my default blue, right? Link color hover, I want you to take whatever color link color is, whatever color that is, and then darken it. And the reason for doing that and not doing it this way, so if you look here, at blue, darken at blue, right? So the end result is the same exact thing, right? But it's not modular, because if I want to change this to red, at red, well, now I have to change this one to red as well. I have to go back to change that one to red too, because I wanted to darken the link color. But by instead specifying darken at link color, no matter what this is, it'll already be ready without having to change this setting.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So by specifying, like, attaching this one, because I just always want links when they hover, I always want links to behave that way, so that when you hover over it, I just want it to darken.
Okay.
It's a pretty common pattern, so I don't want to ever specify link at blue in here. Typography, base font size.
Does that apply to everything then, basically?
The link color?
Yeah.
It applies to all anchor tags. But the thing is, it's at the very, very bottom level of anchor tags. So what that means is, I'll just write this here. Put some style. So what all that did, really, so by saying links color blue, it's going A color, I don't think this is less, but it's A whatever color blue is, right? So that's, I believe I set it to 0000 FF, like that. So A are all anchor tags. All anchor tags look like this. They have this syntax: A, href equals quotation, and then there's something within there that's a link. That's a link. Everything within that, the quotation after the equals, the quotation, that's the destination. A hashtag means it's on that same page. So go to a section of this page.
Okay.
So it's like it's an ID is what it is. It's
Yeah.
an identification. And there's only a single instance of that identification. You can't have like two about IDs.
Oh.
So by href hashtag about, we'll scroll down to the about section of this page. If there's somewhere within the page that I go like this and say A span 6 class button warning, or no, this one A row fluid span 3 H2 heading. So let's call this heading ID equals about. So that's, now I just reference this when I press this button. It should. I will probably won't because it's an embedded iframe, whatever. Anyway, blah, and that's quoting. So all that's doing is that A is coloring all anchors or links the color blue. So by giving them the at blue trigger, we just colored them all like this. The A link color hover is just doing this function. Hover color, you know, whatever is that.
When you were talking about how when you do like, if it was like at blue darken, is it at blue darken or at darken blue? That way.
At blue dark, oh, the to darken is the
Yeah.
syntax right here. So it's darken, parenthesis, at link color, 15%. And now I told you this part under colors is a reference for how to do this. The proper syntax is right here. Exactly like that.
Okay.
So these are all the tools you can use within there. and they explain how each one works. But now by adding links, this behavior to links is adding it at the very, very lowest, or I guess, I can't remember if it's lowest or highest is the right terminology, but it's at the most, the widest, has the largest scope, meaning like the scope of this kind of selector, I guess, this A, means all A, all A. So everything, every link that ever is, give it this property, color blue. So everything is blue, that is a link. So everything with the larger the scope though, the easier it is to be overridden. So if you are covering everything and a more specific selector and method is created, the more specific one that has the smaller scope will override the large or broad scope.
Oh.
Does that make sense at all? Or if
I think it does.
So look, so A, the scope means scope's sometimes a new subject, but scope is like the parameters for which are being applied.
Yeah.
So everyone in the world is the largest scope of people and whatever.
Yeah.
So by going A that means all A tags. If I specify something before that A, so if I wanted to say this is a div class equals nav_bar, right? So if within the nav_bar, class is specified with a period, nav_bar, then if I do a space as a selector, A, that's a descendant selector. So now it says look for anything within nav_bar classes that's an A. Look for any A's within nav_bar classes. So look within, anytime I use this term with class equals nav_bar, div class equals nav_bar top. That's the opening tag, right? So the opening tag is specified like this. The closing tag begins with a backslash right there. So the open tag is anything within the open tag and its closing tag. So all these A's, this A, that one, all those links, we are pointing to them by doing that.
Oh, okay.
So descendant selectors, there's the parent, the top level, then the A's are within it. Now if I put color red, now we want every link in the nav_bar to be red. This nav_bar A will override this one.
Okay.
Because the scope of this A is much broader than the scope of this A. This A says only apply to links within nav_bars.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So if an example is geographic scopes, so only apply nav_bar is North America, only apply this to North American people, where A right here applies to everybody in the entire world. So this more specific the scope, the preference over the other ones it'll be, yes. So styling is right here actually, I don't know why I'm doing this right there. So
where is that?
so by clicking the code toggle edit panel right here, and then it has HTML style and scripts, so you can write JavaScripts, CSS, and CSS can go right there like that. And we should be able to look at our red little links within nav_bars. For some reason they're not inheriting that. Oh, I know why, because nav_bar is actually specified right here. So this is what all these ones are doing. So nav_bar link color. That's going to be kind of what I just did earlier with that when I said when I put nav_bar A. That's kind of what this one is doing right here for us. So you don't have to ever do the code. I just kind of wanted you to look at what it was in the background.
Just for reference.
Because it makes more sense what you're doing over here. So nav_bar down. So now we're kind of just saying everything within the nav_bars. We're going to specify the rules that we want them to follow. So global links are all going to be blue. Well, if we don't want everything
What
to
are
be
those?
blue.
Those are the ones that are.
links, these links,
You said, did you say
global, or the global, remember I give the geographic example of scopes?
Okay.
Everything, all of them. So that's the highest level. Then now this nav bar section is more specific. It's only applying to nav bars. So it's gonna override anything that's global, right? So if we wanna change the link color, so now we can change that link color, override the blue, and we'll override it by putting it red and the darken. And we'll say, you want it, when you hover it, we'll say darken. And we'll nav bar, link color. And I believe 15%, if that's the syntax. Doesn't look like it. Oh, at, oops. So I forgot an at sign, that's fine. If, maybe. Yay! So it looks like it's darkening it. So now, so this is a nav bar up here. I've been overridden. Oh, these are links within the nav bar, and they're all red now. They're behaving because of this. This scope is overriding whatever. Nav bar link background color, background hover transparent. So that's when you hover over this, you know, there's no. You see this has a background color. This one, that has a background color. These ones don't have background colors when you hover. Cool. So I mean, does that kind of like gist of kind of you don't have to agree.
No, yeah, it does.
All right. So topography would be next after links. Go back to getting back in order. Topography, base font size. So this is this font size, I believe. Yeah, font size right here, 14. If you want to increase this, which I usually do, just because of would rather have everything legible than crammed.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a local business site, you want all their stuff to be legible. Base font family, this is the stupidest thing ever, but they have a huge just list of unordered list of fonts, and so like you can't really, it doesn't make sense to use this as a testing tool to select your font, because it's so stupid how they did this. Maybe we can do Control F. No. Yeah, God, I don't know why they did that. But it's just a random list of fonts. So without any.
You don't know what they look like.
Yeah, they don't even let you preview them. And if you wanted to use a font that like we're on Google Web Fonts, if you had like looked through here and selected your font to use, and you knew it's Notice Sans, then you come back here, oh, I want Notice Sans. Well, it's not ordered at all, so you have to look through all of their freaking, and they don't have all of them either, I don't think. So it's tough doing the fonts here, but I don't know if there's a way around it. There might be a way though. Fonts. Okay, so this is probably more helpful. So the sans font family, serif font family, and mono font family. That's an advanced fonts. Now maybe that would be better to do it this way. So by going to web fonts, selecting your filter, we'll just do serif. Now we'll pick our serif base font family from within here. Cutiv mono is stupid looking enough to use right now.
Have you decoed that already?
What?
That page?
This one?
Yeah.
I need not. It's google.com /fonts. How to do this. But the custom font tools I use are QFun fonts. It's great for a bunch of free designer fonts, and what's the other one? Handpick free fonts. Font Squirrel is another good one. I like the Font Squirrel, the tags at the left here, I think were nicer, but this one has a lot more fonts to select from. But yeah, so once you have, so I'm just going to use this one from Google Web Fonts. And come into here. So serif right here, font family. Cocktail mono. And now anytime you use more than one word for a font family, you have to put it into parentheses. I mean, in quotes.
Oh, okay.
So that tells it to, yeah, don't like rule it as two different fonts. So our basic sans font family, change that one to something like, so change this setting to sans serif, turn off serif. Now it looks like their base sans font family. That's cool. Snippet. I should really just Boottheme. Base sans snippet. And maybe that'll work. I don't know. I think it will. At sans font family. So now, just like everything else, we can reference it anywhere within the other fields of this list that we're doing. So the at sans font family can be referenced again in this typography. Base font. Oh, you son of a bitch. Alt font family. So we can say at sans font family. Headings. Oh yeah, so you can specify at sans font family. There you go. That is working. So base font family, we can set that to at serif font family.
Oh, okay.
So after we've specified these ones within here, snippet doesn't need to be in quotations. We are able to reference them anytime with these kind of calls, like at sans font family, at serif font family. Headings, font weight, bold, bolder, thin. It's just how thick it is. So bolder is a common one.
Oh, okay.
It also, I think, takes number arguments, like anywhere from, like, I think it was 300 to 700 are good. 300. Yeah, so 300 is pretty thin. 500 is, or 400 is standard. Or is 400? No, 400 is an uncommon. 500. Nope.
400 is uncommon? What does that mean?
Because there's, so each font family, a font is like there's like text and there's font files, and each time they'd have a different size, a width of that font.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have, the font itself has to have that already created, like custom designed. And so if they haven't designed thinness at this setting, it won't be able to be referenced. So rather than using numbers, you can use the common sizes. Fit, bold, bolder, and whatever. So headings color is inherit. Now that inherit term is a term used to just like, it means like nothing. Like just use whatever is was specified by a parent selector. That probably doesn't make sense. So headings color. So this color right here is yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it yellow? Why would it be yellow? Well, I'll tell you, Reed. It's because text color right here is yellow. Now this is the global text color, say yellow. And then typography, headings color, inherit. So that means really inherit. You inherit means to inherit from your parents or your grandparents, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the headings parent would be, I guess, text color. Because text color assigns this color to every text. So like everything within here, everything that's text in here gets the color yellow. Okay. And by saying inherit on headings, just inherit what your parents are doing. Just copy your parents. Or you can say at red and take the red heading. And you see now it's red right here. Component sizing is the next one. Base font size. So these are font sizes. I mean, if you're gonna do anything with these, maybe make them a little larger is all I would do. But font mini. Padding. So paddings. This is a padding is the area between the text and the edge of right here where any backgrounds will go. And then the next is the border, and next is a margin. And that's the box model. And you can look at a box model by right-clicking, inspecting, and going down to metrics. And you'll see the box model right here. Boom, boom, boom. See that box model right here?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So that's the box model, I guess. I think that's what it's called. So the inside parameter, that's the actual content area. Outside of that is padding. Padding is set to 0 right now, but we can change that on or within here. So now we just gave it 20px padding, and we'll see 20px padding appear right there. You see? We can give it 20px on the right, or we'll do it on the left side. There's nothing right here. So we'll try. Let's give it 50px. Well, it just popped it over because it doesn't fit on the screen anymore. So now I had to fit it in at the bottom. So it moved it down here. But you'll see the padding is wrapped around right there.
Okay.
Margin though is different. Margin's different. This is a little kind of tricky sometimes, I guess, at being introduced to it. So if I set the margin to 20px right there, and margin to 30px right here. Now the margin is right there. Border's right here. So I'll set the border to 2px. Well, instead of like clicking on this one, I'll just give it a property. So I can give it an element style.
Are they all like px, like whatever number of px?
Border. Px, 2 is pixels. So it says 2 pixels wide, blue, and solid. So I added a border everywhere around this thing. I don't know where it went now. Vanished. Where did you go? It really just disappeared.
If you do that sometimes though, will it go to like another page, or will it just be moved down on that?
Oh, it just moved over here.
Oh, I guess that's kind of what I meant. Yeah. Okay.
That's
Years
later on. Alright, so it kind of disappeared. But anyway, that kind of explained the box model.
Yeah.
So by the same padding large is 11px, 19px. When I use a class called padding large, say it's being used on something like this hero unit right here, this box right here has a pretty wide padding. Like this is the padding left. Padding top is from here to there. There's the padding. The margin though is from here to there. That space right there.
Okay.
So if I look at this, it's either that or its parent has that padding. Okay, so the hero unit itself has no margin, but one of its parents will. See the hero unit, the green area is the padding, the orange is the margin, and the blue is the content.
Okay.
But its parent, somebody's going to have some padding up here, or margin. Yeah, there it is. So this green area of the body, for some reason, has a padding top of 60 pixels. The body itself has this green padding. So anyway, back on topic. So padding large, padding small. You can just, it'll take everything that has that element and like either create a wider or smaller around the text areas. Padding small, padding mini. So padding mini is like if I have a mini button, it'll give it the class padding mini.
What do you mean by a mini button?
A mini button. Good question. I'll show you. Those are anything that's like an element that you need to add. Go back to design page. Drag and drop. And you can just select an item. So it's a button. Button group. So we have a button group. We need to add it. I want to add it right here, between there. And now it's been added. You don't see it, but it's there. So we can look at the code. Go back to HTML. Hero unit. button warning. So you can see buttons right here. So this is a button warning.
Is that the one that you just put in?
Well, no, this is a different one.
Oh.
These ones are other places. All I put in was after hero unit, I added it. Hero unit, button in class, row fluid. And it looks like I don't know where it ended up. My button group. Anyway, so
I
if
did the same thing and I can't.
did you find it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so let's so after hero unit, I believe is ended right there. The next is row fluid. So after the row fluid, there's a span 4 for an area. Instead of that span 4, I'm gonna clear that out and I'm gonna put a another div class equals span. Well, actually, I'm not gonna do it with here. I'm gonna drag and drop it so you can see. So scaffolding is important because it's just structure. So going right here to add a row, column, and span. So within design page, drag and drop, click column span. Okay. Type span 4, offset, no offset. So whatever you want to do. So span 12 is the full width. Have you seen the scaffolding before? I can show you that real quick, if that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So it's grid systems. It's like this scaffolding. So span 1s, span 4, 3, 2, 4, 5, 9. So this is a grid. So offsets are a way to specify a space to move it over. Offset 3, 1, 2, 3, took it over, moved it over. Local styles. Grid system layouts. Responsive design, all it's going to do is going to take a grid, like a grid like this, and each time you, depending on your browser width, these will be different sizes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is for reference there. So when you if you want to add a new section, look for rows to add a new section. A row will kind of clear the whole area if it's outside of any spans. So there's no spans around this row,
Okay.
or actually it's within the span 7. So that clears everything. The main span 7 above it right here is right here, span 7. This is the 7. So this whole row, if I add a row within here, it'll only be the length of here to there. It'll cover a span 7.
Okay.
So to add a new section to this span 7, I just look for a row right here, so a div class row, and now I'm going to enter in my new span. So let's add a span 7 within there because we don't want to stretch. Or crap, it's row fluids. Big difference. Damn it. I wonder if I can find a place. No. Damn it. I don't want to explain the difference between rows and row fluid. Because it's kind of complicated. Alright, well I guess I answered. So row fluid and row, just a regular row. So the difference is if you see row hyphen fluid or class just row. Big, huge difference though. You see it just changed over there? Kind of popped weird because it's really big. Row fluid will always, within any row fluid, there will always be span 12 total width. The total width of a row fluid is always span 12.
The total or like the max width?
It'll always end up being span 12. I'll explain this. It doesn't make sense right away. Because spans width are dependent on the row itself. So if a row, sorry it's hard to explain, but so if I have here span 7 and I constricted the size to span 7 and the span 7 is only 700 pixels wide. But within that span 7, I add a row.
Okay.
That row still will have span 12 total width still. And what I mean is that it will have, that new row has 12 new sized spans totaling 700 pixels wide, the width of its parent element, but still 12 different columns.
Okay.
This is what Bootstrap's documentation will explain. And now, so row fluid, probably better to draw this for you, or just look on here. So fluid grid system versus a regular grid system. Live fluid, the fluid uses a percent instead of a pixel. So that is, you see, I'm just bad at explaining everything. So when they're nested is the term. So when you put this total span 12, it has 2 6s. But even the 6 itself has 12 total as well.
Okay.
So you can put like 12 wide, 7, 5 equals 12, right? But within that 7, you can put 2, 10 to equal 12. And within the 5, you can put 3, 3, 3, 3 to equal 12. Because a fluid row is percents. It's based on the percent of the parent width.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It does.
I think so, yeah.
So I think if we resize this one, we'll see how it looks different. Live fluid row and fluid anyway. So the regular grid system though, it's different. It takes a total of 12 columns in the entire page, and there's only 12 columns. That's because they're pixels and not percentages. They're static. So it'll be continuous. So 12, 12. So and then within a nested. So if I have div span 7 within the whole page, and that's 7 columns wide. Within that 7, I can put a 2 and a 5. Does that make sense? But versus if it was a row fluid, I could put a 2, a 5, and another 5 to equal 12 because it's fluid and percentile. It's percentages. Versus the regular row is just making not sense.
I think it was, and then it wasn't.
Maybe we won't grasp
The
this
percentage
today.
part makes more sense.
It's okay if we don't understand it. It took me a while to get when I was, so don't worry about it. But so anyway, I'm gonna add a span 12 in there and continue with where we were. And I just drag and drop wherever I want to put it. So I want to put it right after this row, and it'll put the code in there for you, like that. So I just added the code for me, and I want it to be 12. So if within that span 7, I want to include the button group, a carousel, a button group. So I take that button group, and I'm going to drag and drop it in there too. And it gives me the right divs to open it. So I have to open the tags though as well. And opening the tags, I can put stuff within there. So now button groups, I want to put some buttons in there. Button. So I'm gonna add some buttons. And here's the different button classes. Default, primary, info, success, warning, danger, inverse link. Okay? Those are all specified in those less variables, like where we say at color blue, at yellow, at red. Remember? Mm-hmm. There's also buttons. There's at danger, at warning, at success, at default, at info. You see, primary, info, success, warning. What usually was the default behavior of Twitter is to take your blue, or no, Twitter takes whatever color your links are, which is right now blue, and also gives that quality to the primary button. So here's a primary button right there. That'll learn more. That dark blue is the same color as our dark blue links, because that's taking that color. A button info is taking, let me hide this real quick. A button info is this one right here, this light blue. Button success. Oh, there's your example right here. Sorry. So they show you an example up here. Success, warning, yellow, danger is red, inverse is black, and link is usually just gray or nothing. Default is gray. Size, large, small, mini. Large, small, mini. So remember how I said padding mini?
Yeah.
Well, now that comes into play here, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
So if our padding large is like this, a button that's large will have a much wider, it has the large padding setting. Disabled state, you can apply a disabled state to kind of make it look faded. And like that just looks like, you know, a non-interactive button.
Oh.
So disabled means you can't really press it. And usually it's like if you're trying to prompt the user to do something before, and then you make it enabled.
Oh.
But anyway, so let's add some buttons to our button group, which is button group is right there. So I'm going to put some buttons within a button group. All this button group does is it kind of like just joins buttons together. I'm going to put them all in here because I just want them. So default button, there's button, default primary, button, it disappeared. And info, success, warning, danger, danger zone.
So, what does the success one do?
Green. Don't think of success as like a action or anything.
No, yeah.
Okay. Just as a color. Button, danger, reverse. And then link. And I made those all large. Cool. So closing this. Yay. So we should have my button group. And all that does is it puts the buttons together, and you see it adds the rounded border radius on the first and last buttons.
Yes.
Although my last button is gray, so I can delete this one by right-clicking it. And there, now it's the last one black. So there's all the buttons, and they're all large. If I were to add a small button, so if I add button, and where's my button group? Add button group again. And never see it. So open that up. Yeah, so something like a button group is just an empty div unless there's buttons inside of it. Kind of makes it hard to, use a graphic editor. Yes, button group. There's an empty button group. I believe you can do a class called button toolbar or something to hold multiple buttons. Button toolbar, I think. Group, yeah. So, I believe the button toolbar takes will allow you to put multiple groups. So I just want to look at different size ones, so small. I'm gonna look at these two real quick.
Is there anywhere that you can't put a button?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, cause you know how you can just go on, you can like drag and drop it or whatever and put it wherever you want. Like, is there any place where it won't let you, where it's like, oh, you can't fucking have a button here? Or just any
The
place
head.
Oh, okay.
So it has to be within the body of HTML.
Oh.
The That's really, alright, yeah, that's really it. So button small, primary. So these are small buttons, and then button minis. I'm gonna go right here, and we'll get warning and danger.
Can a link be a button?
Buttons are links, or yeah. So a, so you can do button, or you can put a. So because the button, this term button right there beforehand, that's not affecting. That has nothing to do. That does not change the way this looks.
Mm-hmm.
So I can take that and put a, and then but I have to change the closing tag as well. Oops. And that should have the same exact effect, I believe. Yeah, didn't change anything. By having a or button, that didn't matter. What mattered was that it had this class button large. That class is telling it to inherit CSS styles to make it look like that button. But being a button doesn't matter.
Oh.
So you don't have to use the term button, use a button.
I just wasn't sure what the difference between a link and a button was, and just how it looks.
But no, you see, like with the browsers and HTML and everything, there's usually multiple ways to do the same thing, just because nobody can ever agree on what they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
or like a standard, like a single way to do it. Firefox will say, "Oh, it's done this way," and Microsoft will reinvent how everyone else should do it, and
Okay.
and do it 5
I
times.
just wasn't sure if like buttons and links were like supposed to have different functions or whatever.
Well, I guess I'm not too sure. I can't really say, but I see buttons as like more of a user interface kind of tools. So I usually would use a button to prompt like a JavaScript or something, and then run like a pop-up modal, when those come up with pop-ups.
Yeah.
Like I'd use a button to do that and then I would try to stick to use links to take you somewhere else.
So that's what I was thinking. I was like, a link would take you to another page.
I guess if it would, yeah, it could be a good idea. I don't know.
I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, you can use them for either way. So here now we have our 2 button groups, and those shows us all our buttons. So now our paddings will change. I believe the buttons themselves. 2 pixels. Yay! You see what it did there?
No.
So the padding large is affecting our big primary large buttons.
Oh.
That's cool. So that's the default size of a button. The padding mini, small, affects the size of the smaller buttons. Border radius, base border radius large and small, is the radius of this angle.
Okay.
So a radius is a straight line, right?
Yeah.
So if you picture little circles everywhere on each corner,
Okay.
and draw a radius, it would be 4 pixels wide. So by increasing the radius to 40 pixels, makes them round. Yeah. Tables, not going to get into it much, but you can add some pretty fun behaviors on tables to like alternate colors, table background accented, table background hover, and table border, and table background, so that you can do patterns with tables as well. So the accent would give a table that's alternating colors like this one. This has accents right here, accent. You see how it's little fades, different colors? That can be a change right here. Buttons is buttons. So all your button settings here, what I would do is instead of specifying individual colors on each one of these, I would try to make sure you have all your colors defined in your advanced colors, and kind of reset the ones on the basic right here, these buttons, reset those ones to use colors within your standard scheme.
Okay.
So within your own custom color scheme that's specified right here. So going in and changing your button info or button success background into @green, and then changing background success highlight to darken at button says background 10%. I think that worked. I don't know.
buttons, it says background 10%. Yeah, it looks like it's valid color, maybe. Because let's change it to like a 50%. Yeah, so if I don't know if it's working, I usually just use like make it ridiculous, like 60%.
Yeah.
Should make it do something. It's not, huh? Not doing anything.
What's the point of having like different colors for different buttons? Like, isn't like okay? How am I gonna word this? Like if you could change them anyways, because you can change what color buttons are. So it's like.
What do you mean?
Well, why is like.
Why does success and primary, you mean?
Yeah, like why.
Default behaviors. So think about it, if I'm doing a website, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have buttons all over that site, right? Now, anytime that I want to warn somebody about they're about to do a dangerous thing, like, are you sure you want to delete this information? Rather than specifying the color each time and double checking and making sure that it's the same color red, I say class button danger. And now, and then also, but the biggest part is that if I want to change that variable, so if I want to change all dangerous buttons to a more pinkish red, I can do that really quickly by changing one setting versus each individual one.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Well, no, it's an important concept, like with, yeah, no, it's really, it's a good question though. That was a good question.
So I was like, why do they have colors if you can change them?
Yeah, no, it's proactive. Less files to affect the scale of everything. Now I have a really weird looking red-green button over here. Yeah, it's nice.
It's cool though.
Kind of.
I didn't know you could do that. Well, I mean,
Oh, you're
maybe
doing
you could
it.
do that, but I didn't think it'd be like that easy to do it, I guess.
Oh, I think.
Multicolored buttons.
Navbar, so navbar customization, navbar collapse width +1, navbar height, navbar collapse desktop width. So what these are saying is, you see how the navbar looks like that now? It's looking for this to, now it's here, 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 now it's collapsed. So it's asking, when do you want to collapse? Desktop width plus, I don't know, navbar collapse desktop width. I think what they want to say here is collapse width, collapse desktop width +1. So it's just saying 980 pixels. Whatever.
Is when it would collapse?
Yeah, I wouldn't stand. This is a good standards. Like 980, it's pretty okay. Just not to touch that. Navbar height, you may want to change that. Sometimes like people will use like wacky big old tall navbars, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't seem to change that. So I don't know why it didn't do anything. 200 pixels then. Okay, so that doesn't look like it's doing anything. Navbar background highlight at yellow instead of using default. Yellow. Okay, so that's, you'll know if these work if they change this color right here. So if I had the color, you know, I had that color here before, it has here, it looks like that, but if I call it at yellow, I think what will happen is, oh, that yellow is already specified as that color, that's why. Yellow, yeah. Oh, no. Yellow is that color. What the fuck? So that's not even doing anything. At. Oh, navbar back. No. Yeah, what the hell?
It's probably that active one.
Navbar background highlight? No, I'm just
Oh,
saying,
no.
why is this not changing?
Oh, that thing doesn't change with the variables. Like, it won't show you the color if you're referring to another variable.
Yeah, I know, it's like right here.
Yeah.
But it usually erases that one, doesn't it? Once it's correct. Like once I change this one to at green,
it should.
it should erase that one, right? I thought it usually like erased it.
Yeah, I thought it did too.
Maybe it's just because I've been doing a lot of weird shit on Google Analytica. So what if I just refresh it? I don't really care because it's a stupid looking page. So yeah. color schemes. Ooh, pink and yellow. So back to the basic nav bar height. That's where it didn't work. There we go. Yeah, so it wasn't even working. It wasn't as. So now it's changing stuff again. Nav bar background highlight. It's like poop yellow. Baby diarrhea.
It's perfect for the website.
Yes. So makes me think of babies pooping. Yeah, so you can look at all these and experiment with them. Pagination is, I have one of those down here somewhere. I thought I put one right there. There's pagination. Everything is really hard to see because why would it be so hard to see, Reed? Why do you think?
Like words or?
It was because our links were the same colors as a background color.
That was gonna be my guess.
Well, you're right. You were right then. Your answer you almost gave was right.
You almost.
Ooh, that one's kind of cool.
That looks like.
Reminds me of super like Buzz Lightyear or something. So other settings, nav bar pagination's just that little tiny widget at the bottom.
Mm.
If you want to do a new theme, you can do templates and open up one. Demo is I think has the most functions. So the demo has like a lot of different functions like here. So it has like a lot of different stuff you'd use, and then you can edit this theme. If you go back to design, you can insert stuff, right? Pagination is not included, but is just little like when there's multiple blog posts or something, you know. Hero unit is these.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hero unit. Background color, heading color, inherit that like just like it's so inherit means use what everybody else is doing.
Why is it? Can you change to what color if you like highlight on it, like what you just did? Can you change what that color is?
What do you mean?
Like if you like when you like highlighted it.
This?
Yeah. Can you change what that looks like?
The hover?
Sure.
I think that's browsers. That's your like your browser.
I was just curious.
No, I don't know how to change that. Maybe you can. Hero unit lead color, so that's just the color of this text. At yellow. Yeah, so drop downs. Your drop down menu, color settings and behaviors. So just see the drop down menu, expand that, and drop down. There you go. And that's all changed within here. So background, border, yeah, and whatnot. Active, when active means drop down link color active. That means it's right here. So this isn't active because I'm on the home page. It active usually means it's like that's what's now. That's already on. Active means like now on. So by being on home page, that sets this home to active.
Okay.
So that setting is managed under nav bar. Nav bar link color active, nav bar link background hover, nav bar link background active. So if you are an active thing on the nav bar, which we are activating home because we're on the home, the background, change the background, nav bar link background active. So the background, wrong one, those are the inverse ones. Nav bar link background active right here. Darken, just darken the background color, nav bar background color right here, just darken it a little bit, which it's doing. And which is a nav bar background is a darkened version of this. Cool.
Okay.
So everything's like connected so that when you change one setting, it'll affect the entire thing. But that's what we want. That makes it really quick to design and change. Forms,
Unless for whatever reason you wanted pages to look different from each other.
don't worry about doing that though, because those kind of settings are specific and you want to be able, because when you start changing specific parts of the page to make this page special and stuff, it becomes the whole website becomes more inconsistent, you know.
Really just, there's a lot of tools within Bootstrap that will give you a lot of abilities to do everything you really need to. And that said, you can't avoid doing specific designing features on a per page basis.
Yeah, because if you put a picture on one page, you wouldn't want it to be on all the pages. Right?
Well, that's not a design. Pictures are HTML.
Okay.
This is CSS, what we're doing.
I thought we were doing HTML.
Nope. HTML is here. There is HTML.
Yeah. Okay.
This is HTML. This style,
Mhm.
this is CSS. What I've been writing, the dot, that's CSS. So CSS can affect the entire site. An HTML page will only be a single page of static. Okay? So you would insert an image into a single HTML frame. But those settings are what that backend, the layout backend. I have areas where you can insert individual like snippets of CSS tag and to affect only that page, and that's what Charlie can do pretty well. But like this is something that you could do, and especially you can design pages using this interface. I'm sure if you give it some time. Forms, so you can design custom forms right here, and you'll see the form behavior right here. Form states and alerts. These ones you don't really have to touch just because they're alerts, they're messages. So see a message working, I'll show you on Docker. Although this whole site's airing right now. Let me just log out. We get nothing but errors. Never mind. So it's just little messages like when you log in, like successfully logged in, or please change your header tag or whatever. Tooltips and popovers. I don't think you can see these on here, so I wouldn't worry about them. But I'll make I can put a snippet, and you can use a snippet for a popover. HR border. HR, I don't know what that stands for. So I leave it at gray though, because I'm pretty sure it's just a button of like a border of buttons and stuff. Because I think I changed it blue on a site and I gave it a gray button and noticed like a little blue border. Not too sure, but you can change the well background as well. Now some other advanced settings, icons. Don't really touch that one, but you can look at icons right at Bootstrap. Base CSS icons, and these are all icons you can use. To use one, it's really easy. Just copy that. So that's the class you have to give it. Boottheme. We'll put up the editor, and like say we want to give it to a button, right? Insert buttons. Oh, buttons. There's our button toolbar. So let's take our default button toolbar. Right here, default. And give it, instead of saying, so default text right here,